Okay, I'm going to walk you guys through how I like to do a blowout. So I always start with a leave-in conditioner. I always like to brush each layer of product that I put in. Now I'm putting in quick blowout, which is a nice primer to style to help speed up the blow dry time. Now I'm using a blow dry foam. I like to layer this product in because a little bit goes a long way and I don't want to do too much. I'd rather kind of layer it on because you can always add more. It's hard to take off product when you put too much on. So now I'm going to go in and kind of rough dry a little bit. I like to start at the roots and kind of wrap the hair around, focusing mostly on the root right here. Your ends are more porous, so your ends can be manipulated a lot easier and they're a lot more fragile. It's easier to get more control on your roots when you start at the root. That's mostly where any like cowlicks or anything are. It's easier to start at the root to get control over where the hair is the most difficult and stubborn. Here I'm just going in doing the same wrapping but doing it more with the round brush just to kind of get some control and some lift so that when I go in and blow dry I don't have to try to get so much lift out. There is already a little bit lift from pre-blow drying it, wrapping it the way that I am. So when I section hair, I go off of density mostly. If the person has a lower density, I can kind of take bigger sections. If the person has more density, I take smaller sections, just so that the air can get through, the air from the blow dryer can get through the hair a lot easier. So here I went a little bit above the mannequin's occipital, just because the mannequin doesn't have a whole lot of density. I'm able to get in there. You can see I go diagonal back but like forward, pushing it forward to kind of get that lift, and then I'm gonna wrap it around to the back from the front to the back and it's like a C motion. Same thing on the other side, so I split the back section in half and then I'll go in the middle, so I do to the right and then to the left, going diagonal forward, pushing it forward and then pulling it back, and then I'll take the section in the center and kind of pull it out and down and tucking it in. So the mannequin here, I'm taking it from the parietal ridge, which is right where like the sides, the temples are at, sectioning that off. The mannequin does have kind of a very wide crown. So I take the sides and then I'll do another section before I do the top, just because the mannequin does have a pretty wide crown on the top. So here on the sides, I still like to take a diagonal forward. This is doing like a basic blowout. If the hair was longer, this mannequin's hair hasn't been cut, so it's all one length, so it kind of makes it look like it's a mullet. But I mostly just kind of wanted to walk through the steps of how I section and how I angle the round brush, because it'll give the same effect no matter the length of the hair. Just when the hair gets longer, I might twist the brush more when I'm untangling it. But that just depends on the look that the person wants. But I like to brush it all forward and then kind of brush back into like a C motion when I'm taking the brush away from the face. So you can see here I'm going diagonal forward towards the face, and then I'm gonna kind of pull it back and away right here. So on the back, I do the same thing. I like to go back and forth actually, because if I just pull it all forward, then it's going to split in the back all weird. So I pull it forward, pull it back, and then still pull forward and kind of round it away from the head, just so that it doesn't split all weird in the back to where it lays nicely still. And here too, you can see I'm kind of going off base at the root. I keep the brush on the root. When I'm at the root, pulling up and then down just to kind of get that lift in the back, especially in the back, because that's usually where nice cowlicks and stuff are that can be harder to manipulate. And then right here, just because of the mannequin's head shape, I didn't want to take the section wider than the round brush, and the section on top is wider than the round brush, so I kind of took like a rainbow section from the temple and sectioning it to that when I do the top, it's as wide as the round brush. So I had to do kind of 2 sections, one on the parietal ridge, below the parietal ridge, one right on the crown, and then I'll do one on the top. Kind of going right where the crown and the parietal ridge connect. I had to do a section there just because of how wide the top of the client's head is. Sometimes I do have to do this on most clients just because their head is bigger. Sometimes you can do just like 2 sections on the side of the head where you just do like below the parietal ridge and then the top of the head. But if someone's head is too big and the hair is falling off the width of the brush, you just have to take smaller sections because you can't take sections that are wider than the brush because then you're going to get hair stuck and wrapped around where like your hand is on the handle. If you notice that hair is getting wrapped around that just means your sectioning is too big and then you just need to take smaller sections. Because you also don't want to take sections that are wider than the brush, but also the depth of the brush as well. That's why you can see I'm taking about like inch to 2 inch sections, just because that's about the size of the brush as well. So same with how you're doing like a stacked bob, you'll hold the section where you're cutting it, how the angle of the section is. I do the same thing with the section on top. I hold the brush at the angle of the part. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. How it's angled, I angle the brush the same as the part. So now I'm going to be going at the same angle of the section on the top is where I'm just following where the part is, where I've sectioned it, because now I'm going, you can see how I'm pulling the hair straight up. I do the same thing on the sides as well. But now I'm just going to go pulling it forward to kind of get some nice lift off base. You can also see I'm not standing behind the client and pulling up really high. I'm trying to keep my shoulders and my elbows down. I try to keep my elbows below my shoulders. Here I'm lifting it up just so that I can kind of get it on camera better. But I usually am pretty good about thinking about your posture of keeping your elbows and your shoulders back, elbows down, just so that you keep yourself in good shape and not hurting yourself throughout blow dries. Again, here I'm going off base, so I'm pulling all forward. And this section did get a little too wide, so you can see how I'm over directing it to where it was almost too big of a section, but I was able to still get it all within the blow dry. So you see I'm going side to side on the section. That's also to get nice lift and control of the root and get that cowlick in the front, usually where like their bangs would be at, to get control over that, to go side to side. And then again here I'm going to the right and then to the left. So you can see how it's kind of almost too big of a section, but not enough to split it into 2. When I'm doing this on a client as well, I like to push my cool button to make sure that it's not getting too hot at the root, because I'm mostly focusing on the root area. So here I split it and I'm taking it to the center and then away from the face, so that it gets nice like in her face, and then wrapping away from her face to give her that like fringe bang, like just like that. And the same thing on the other side, pulling it all to the center and then blow drying it down and away from her face. I usually like to then lift it up away from her face just so it's not stuck on her face. And then taking some hairspray too, kind of putting it in shape as it's still warm to get control over it. So you can see how it has nice lift and texture to it with still that nice like C shape to it. And then here the haircut is just all wonky because I never cut it. And then I can go in and I'll grab some hairspray. So here I'm kind of holding the hair up and kind of forming it and shaping it a little bit, but also not trying to spray the client's face. And then I like to use my hand as like a claw and kind of grab the hair and pull it up. So then as I'm pulling up and spraying, I like to go and kind of move it around a little bit, get different heights out of it, and then it'll set, and then you can kind of rake through it, and then you're done.